What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy, Matty B, and today we're going to hit you guys with a little SuperMotocross playoff preview. I know, it feels like outdoors just ended a few days ago. Well, actually, that's because it did just end a few days ago. But no rest for the wicked and no choice for yours truly. The playoffs are already starting up next weekend. So for today's video, we'll preview the 3-round schedule, how the point structure works because not every race is worth the same amount of points, and we'll go over the seeding, how many points everybody's going to be coming in with, and who all's qualified to race this thing. And then we'll get into one of the biggest talking points and selling points of Super Motocross, which is the points fund. Big money on the line for both classes, especially the 450s. We'll take a look at the tracks. I'll preview them a little bit more in depth on my race previews before the race weekends, but we'll see what the hybrid nationals are all about. And then last but not least, we'll have no choice but to get into the fun stuff, my predictions of what I think is going to go down in both classes in the playoffs. And I'm excited. It's a short series, but it should be a banger. And this is year 3 since its inception, so maybe not quite all the hype and buzz that it had in year 1 when it was a brand new thing, but still, more racing, more money for the riders, and way more entertainment for us fans. I don't know about you guys, but I can't really find anything negative about all that. But before we get into all the ins and outs and all the details on the series, I gotta give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. Thank you to ASV Inventions and thank you to Sirius Studio. So if you're a squid and you crash all the time and need an unbreakable lever, or if you're just a normal guy that wants some cool merch worn by yours truly and Trey Kennard, then you're in luck because I've got links and discount codes in my description. And guys, remember, if you're supporting them, you're supporting me. Let's get into the video. To start off, we'll preview the schedule, and it won't take long because it's only 3 rounds, and the opener is next weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Each event will have a Friday free practice day, and then Saturdays where the points and the money are paid. And then round 2 will be at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Same place that they run the Supercross, so should be some titty city dirt. Luckily, it's not going back to the venue where this picture was taken because last year's round 2 at Dallas was maybe one of the worst professional races I've ever seen, total concrete national. And then for the finale, I think this year's Concrete National will be taken over by Las Vegas Motor Speedway, September 20th and 21st. And despite bad dirt totally being in the Las Vegas contract, it definitely wasn't Titty City last year, but I think it could have been worse. And with the point system and the last round being triple points, there is no way a champion will be crowned early. So if you head to Vegas, you should see both champions crowned. And having the championship go down to the final round is totally by design. We've seen title after title wrapped up a round or two early, and they don't want that. It's the playoffs, it's the finale, and they want to see it go down to the bitter end. And it's a new series, the format's a little bit different than we're used to, so here's how it works. Whatever place you finished in combined points throughout both Supercross and Pro Motocross, that'll be your seeding position heading into the playoffs. So if you check out the chart to the top left with the green outline, it'll show you exactly how many points you'll carry in for whatever place you finished overall. And that's the same point structure as Supercross and Pro Motocross, and the same point structure as round 1 in SMX. But this is where SMX really gets different because then round 2 is double points and then round 3 for the finale is triple points. So that's why you won't see any championships wrapped up before the final round. A win at the finale is worth 75 points, and there ain't a chance in hell somebody's going to have a 75-point lead by then. And then as for the actual race format, it's a 2-moto format with 2 20-minute plus 2-lap motos, and the points are paid based off of overall, so if you win Moto 1 but you bone yourself in Moto 2, you ain't getting 25 points, you're taking a hit. And then the last thing to note here is that the top 20 in combined points are seeded straight in, but in both classes, there are a few riders in the top 20 that will not be racing the playoffs. And even if all 20 were going to be there, there's a 22-man gate, so for the last few spots, they're going to have to do an LCQ and race their way in. If there were no injuries, then there would only be 2 riders coming out of each LCQ. But the sport's a meat grinder and we got a few guys out, so I'm thinking both classes should have at least 4 or 5 guys coming out of the LCQ rather than 2. So now that we hopefully got that figured out, or maybe I just suck at explaining it and you're more confused than ever, let's dive into who all's racing this thing and who all's eligible to be in the LCQ. Starting with the 250 class, massive points lead and a number 1 seed for Hayden Deegan. He'll be coming in with 25 points ahead of second place Joe Sushi Wasabi Shimoda. Then with the number 3 seed, it's the hard-charging Garrett Marchbanks, with 4th being Tom Vial. Let's hope he's comfy enough with that setup, no choice. Actually guys, I'm kinda kidding. If you were having shock failures on a Pro Motocross track, you'd probably pull it in too. Then in the 5 spot, it's Seth Hamaker, followed by the chef, Levi Kitchen. 7th is 2 Jews Beaumare. It is yet to be announced if he'll be racing the playoffs, but he attended another concussion national at Budds Creek, so I think he's doubtful. 8th is Handbrake Max Voland, followed by Top Trimuff, Jordan Smith in 9th. 10th seed is Michael Moseman, and I'm unsure of his status as well because he actually battled 2 Jews at the very same concussion national. Then we got Nate Thrasher, who could win or get 15th, and I probably wouldn't be surprised. 12th and 13th are two guys that will not be racing, Chance Hyman and Mikkel Haralp. 14th seed after making it through the entire season is Austin Faulkner. 15th will get a better seeding when it's time, Ryder DiFrancesco. Then in 16th we got Top Ginger, Drew Adams. 17th seed is the Kiwi Supercross superstar Cole Davies. A great rookie season and 18th overall for Parker Ross. 19th is his teammate Dylan Schwartz, and then rounding out the top 20 and the final spot is Rick James, but he's on the 4 fatty. He will not be racing the 250 in the playoffs. And then we'll get into some guys that should be in the LCQ. Just missing out, and 21st is Lux Turner. Then we got Ty Masterpool. I know he's testing, and he'll be at SMX. And then Cohen Park. Cody Schock will not be on the 250. He'll be in the LCQ in the 450 class. Jalik Swoll is out as well. We should see Avery Long, but I'm not sure about Dax Benedict. Casey Cochran's out. Henry Miller's on the entry list. I'm thinking we'll see Max Anstey. He's directly seeded into the LCQ after getting a win at the 250 East opener. Hunter Yoder's on the entry list along with Cole Thompson, and I think that should be most of the field, with the exception of a few riders. And as for who those riders may be, they'll just take the next best riders in points that are willing to show up. We'll just have to see who answers the call. Then in the 450 class, on top, we got the man who outlasted everybody else. Justin Cooper heads in with 25 points in the number 1 seed. Then up to second, even after missing almost all of Supercross, is Jett Lawrence. And then in third, the only other guy who made every race, Malcolm Stewart. And then just 1 point back are both Cooper Webb and Hunter Lawrence, with the nod going to Webb in 4th, with Lawrence back in 5th. Then in the 6th spot, after missing almost all of Pro Motocross, is Chase Sexton. In the number 7 seed is a guy that I think really likes these hybrid tracks, and that is Eli Tomac. He coulda, woulda, and shoulda been second, but he fell back to 8th after an illness. Aaron Plessinger is coming in 8th. The race isn't even for another week, but I can already hear him revving out Charlotte Motor Speedway. Justin Barsha is the number 9 seed. And then rounding out the top 10, the revelation of the 450 class of the summer, RJ Hampshire. Then just outside the top 10, we got 11th place, Kickstart Kenny, Ken Roxon. 12th is Dylan Ferrandis after a late season comeback in Pro Motocross. Coming in 13th is Jorge Prado, but he'll probably just give up and ride like George. He's been out injured, but he should be back. 14th is Joey Savacci. 15th is El Hombre, Jason Anderson. It's already been announced that he'll be out for the rest of the year. And then our last 5 direct transfers are going to be 16th, Shane McElrath. 17th is Colt 45, but his thumb did 2 zigzags, and Colt Nichols will be out of commission. 18th is Valentin Guillot, who's rumored to be flying back to Switzerland between motos in the middle seat. He barely shadowboxed his way in after a couple of late-season Pro Motocross falters from his competitors. Justin Hill is 19th, and then rounding out the top 20, the final person to get a direct transfer is Mitchell Harrison. And then we got our LCQ riders. Just missing out in 21st is Cody Schock. 22nd is Hari Kulas. 23rd and 24th are the Betas, Mitchell Oldenburg and 7'12" Benny Bloss. 25th is Benoit Paturel. 26th, Lorenzo Lucurcio. 27th, Chiz Gonna Chiz, Kyle Chisholm. He was born for the LCQ. 28th is Grant Harlan, and take this with a grain of pepper because I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's out injured. 29th is Christian Craig, who I do not believe will be in, along with Freddie Noren in 30th. Not sure on the status of Roman Pape or Dean Wilson, but 33rd place Marshall Walton's on the entry list. And there should be a few more spots up for grabs. Like I said, we'll just have to see who shows up and who shows out. And this is why these direct transfers have been such big stories and of such importance to the riders, because here's the points fund, tons of cash up for grabs. And this is just the 250 class. The 450 payout is way steeper and much more rewarding. As it should be, it's the fastest they get paid and the fastest to get laid, no choice. But in the 250 class, $500,000 for the championship, $250,000 for second, $150,000 for third, $100,000 for fourth, $50,000 for fifth, $25,000 for sixth, 18 bands for seventh, and then it goes down in $1,000 increments all the way down to the 22 spot, which gets you $2,000. And you got to get top 22 because if you're 23rd in points, all you get is a bunch of hard work in the memories. And I can tell you from experience, you can't pay your rent with that. And here we go. Here's the 450 payout. Big money. Cha-ching. $1 million for the championship. $500,000 for second. $250,000 for third. And then we got $200,000 for fourth. $150,000 for fifth. $135,000 for sixth. Hell, as long as you're in the top 8, you're making $100,000 or more. But the increments stay reasonably large all the way down to the 12th spot, which is $35,000. Then it goes down in $1,000 increments all the way down to 22nd overall, which still gets you 25 bands. And bands will make her dance. She has no choice, but tons of money up for grabs in this 450 class. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'd be pretty hyped with $1 million for a 3-race series. Sounds pretty sick. And one thing I've heard about this payout is it's huge, it's great, but I think it comes at the cost of no manufacturer or team bonuses. The teams are already having to take on the cost of going to more races, so the money came from NBC. They wanted the playoffs, so they injected the money into the series. So honestly, whether the money is coming from the teams, the TV, the promoters, or Ben Dover from down the street, I don't really care. As long as the athletes are getting paid, then it's cool with me. Next up, we'll do a brief preview of all three hybrid Super Motocross track layouts. And in my opinion, the tracks from the last 2 years and the track maps from this year perfectly capture the essence of the hybrid tracks. I mean, when you think hybrid, you think a mix of Supercross and outdoor obstacles, and that's exactly what these tracks have been. But despite perfectly capturing the essence of a hybrid track, does that really lead to good racing? In my opinion, it hasn't quite been the best, not a ton of separation or places to pass. I do like that the mix of outdoor and supercross sections seems to throw the riders and the suspension techs for a loop, but when it comes to the racing, it seemed to be a little bit single file and follow the leader nationals. But I think this year's tracks have potential. Let's get into them. For round 1 at Charlotte, split start is always in the contract, separated by the concrete walls of the speedway. Then you meet in the middle with a double across 2 lanes of the track, another 90-degree left, and a couple of singles wide open back into the outdoor section. And then back in the outdoor section, looks like we got a 90 to the right, either a little pop step up or 2 singles, with the second one being a ski jump, a sweeper with an inside roller or around the outside with the trailer park girls. And then compared to the last couple of years, this is actually kind of an awkward looking outdoor section because we got a couple of patches of sand, some weird looking offset singles or doubles, some sweepers, more singles, and then a couple of big doubles on the way out. And then as you sweep back into where all the fans are sitting, and then as you sweep back out, this section's a little bit of a maze to follow, but you got a little 90 to the left, a couple of awkward singles, into a small double, a bigger double across where the split starts meet, into a classic Supercross triple, land the Supercross triple, and you got a single over some mogul sand rollers. Then you get a flat corner that's going to have a big single in the middle of it because of the speedway wall. Land the finish line, and you get a single into another left-handed corner that spits you back out onto one of the start straights. Got an old school Daytona-esque offset rhythm section into a 90 to the left, either a 2-1 or a 1-2, a bull corner, and then the same thing. Maybe we'll even see a big kahuna 3 in those sections. But then another 90 to the left, and then a 3-2 or a 2-3 into the sand section. And this has been one of the most pivotal sections of the race the last couple of years. Super gnarly and whooped out, Lommel and a speedway. Then on the way out of the sand, continue with the old school Daytona vibes because we got some moguls and more offset jumps. And then last but not least, this is why the bikes are so hard to set up, because then we got a rhythm section, but I think it'll be a little slower this year because it looks like a little pop step up on the way in, and then a triple step on, step off, 3-2 on the way out. But that's a lap around Charlotte, going to be a tricky national with a lot of awkward sections. Then round 2, St. Louis, the Dome at America's Center, widely known as the best dirt in Supercross, total titty city. And with this being a stadium that they race Supercross in, I believe this is the smallest floor plan that we've seen thus far in Supermotocross. But it should be damn good for viewing. Nobody will have a choice, but you got to start right down the middle into a flat left-hander. And then right off the bat, this thing gets all hybrid on us because we got a set of rollers into a bowl corner and then a rhythm section, outdoors and then Supercross in the first couple of sections of the track. And if that wasn't hard enough, then you got what looks like it's going to be a whooped out sand sweeper to the right with more sand rollers on the way out. And man, suspension guys are going to be looking for the nearest bridge to jump off because then you got a Supercross bull corner and then a big double. And it might not just be the suspension guys, it might be the riders looking for that bridge too, because then you got another sand sweeper to the right with what looks to be even bigger rollers. And these guys already complain about sand sections with the stiff suspension. It's super difficult, and then we got this track which looks to be about 1/3 sand. So the boys are going to have to soften up the 2x4s and get her plush, but you still got a big rhythm section and some big jumps, so what a battle that's going to be. But out of the second sand sweeper, you got a wall jump into yet again more sand, another bull corner, and then what seems to be a pretty big ass double. Land and you got a split lane, either stay tight and do a little step up and then double out, or go around the outside, a little bit of a bigger double, and then do the same double out, meet in the middle with a bridge jump, and then it'll double into an off-camber corner, either double in, rail the outside, and then double out, or maybe case the double in, stay tight around the inside, and then single out. And then you head outside the stadium. At first, they were saying it was going to go all the way out into the convention center, which sounded badass. But now, rumor has it it's just going to be a straightaway out, U-turn, and then come right back. But at least they've got some more sand in there. But then you rip back into the stadium, wide open under the bridge, and luckily I'm not racing, so I'm safe, but watch out Cody Shock. But then to finish out the lap, you sweep into a 3-5-3, a bull corner, and then another 3-5-3, float over a classic Supercross finish line double into one last bull corner, a single on the way out, and then back into the rollers out of the first corner. And then for the finale, the series heads to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for a hard-packed desert national. Triple points, so a lot on the line at this one, but we got the start. Not really a split start, but it's split by a tunnel jump. And it even looks like they're going to have a little bit of a roller to upset the suspension and throw a wrench in the program headed into a flat left-handed first corner. And once again, right away it looks like we've got a mix of Supercross and outdoor obstacles because right off the start, kind of looks like more of an outdoor type double roller section. But then, after a right-hander with a roller in it due to the speedway walls, then you get some Supercross style obstacles with a roller into a step-on step-off, a sweeper, and then a Supercross triple. And then some more switchbacks over the concrete barriers, kind of a common theme at the speedway venues, and then you get another little step-on step-off Supercross style section, more switchbacks and a double into an off-camber, either double to the outside, rail around the outside and double out, or case the double in, stay tight around the inside, and then roll out, almost the same obstacle that they had at the round previous in St. Louis. But then you get another 90 with some more awkward singles due to the speedway walls. And then you got a little ski jump into the sand. There's going to be some rollers and it's going to get rough. Suspension nightmare, but then right into the finish line, a 2-3 or a 3-2, and then the finish line double. Lay on the finish line and you got 4 small jumps, maybe 2 little pop doubles or a 3-1. And then pretty much the rest of the lap is some more outdoor action. A split lane with some sand in the middle, inside-outside option. Then you got a little step-over ski jump with some more singles or rollers or doubles, I don't even know. But more sand switchbacks, a little double in the middle. And then as you get out of the sand, a nice floater double, a turning double into the bridge step-up, back onto the start straight, and that's a lap around the finale at Vegas. And as far as these tracks go as a whole, they're very unique. You don't see much like it. But when it comes to the racing, I'm not sure how it's going to work. I feel like I see a lot of one-line, follow the leader sections. But you never know till the gate drops. I got faith in the racing. It's been good all year, and I'm sure this year's going to be no different. But what the hell do I know? I'm just some dude with an iPhone and a YouTube channel. Let me know what you guys think about these layouts in the comments. And last, but certainly not least, we'll get to the most fun part of the video, and that'll be my predictions for both the 250 and the 450 class for the SuperMotocross World Championship playoffs. Coming into this year, we got 2 defending champions 2 years in a row, with those being Jett Lawrence in the 450 class and Hayden Deegan in the 250 class. They've both gone back-to-back, and nobody besides those two have ever won an SMX title. So can anybody stop them? I'm not sure. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'll tell you guys what I think, starting with the 250 class. In the 10th spot, I'm going to go with Nate Thrasher. I said it earlier, the dude could get 1st or 15th, and I really wouldn't be that surprised. So I'm going to go kind of middle of the road. I'm going to pick him for 10th. For the most part, the year has been super up and down for him, but he had a good ending to the Pro Motocross Championship. So I'm not expecting anything too special, but I won't be surprised if we get it. Then for 9th, I'm going to go with Handbrake, Max Voland. A lot of this class is beaten up, battered, and bruised right now, but Max has been solid all season long. He seems to still be healthy, and he seems to still be trucking along as good as ever. Kind of like what I said with Thrasher, I don't necessarily see anything too flashy coming out of Voland on the way to this 9th. I think it'll just be consistency from 8 to 10 each week. Then in 8th, I hate to do this because I know he's better than this, but I gotta go with Garrett Marchbanks. And the only reason I'm putting him down this low is for the obvious reason of the struggles with the starts. And in the outdoors, the tracks are gnarly. He's got 30 minutes and he's got time to get it done. But SMX, it's only 20 plus 2, not as much to separate on these tracks, and I think the starts are going to hold him back. Then for 7th, I'm going to go with Cole Davies. Possibly a very good chance that I'm selling him short on this one, but he's never done SMX before, and although he was a total superstar in Supercross, he did it by being an incredibly technically gifted rider, and a lot of those super technical aspects are not present in SMX. So like I said, he could be better, but I'm just not sure that the hybrid tracks are going to suit Cole's technical riding style. At least not quite as good as Supercross did, because he was insane. Then for 6th, I'm going to go with Triumph's Jordan Smith. A quiet, not so great Pro Motocross season, but he got him their first win in Supercross. And I saw it in person last year at Charlotte. Jordan Smith is an absolute ripper at Super Motocross. I think it suits his style. He's loose and he sends it, so as long as he can get some starts, I think he runs up front. Then into the top 5, for 5th place, I have Levi Kitchen. It hasn't been the best year for him, an injury in Supercross, and a very up and down Pro Motocross season. And the biggest thing that I think might hinder him is that his starts have been very inconsistent, and in Super Motocross, a lot of people kind of finish where they start, not a ton of places to pass, but I still got the chef in the top 5. Then in 4th, I'm going to go with Tom Vial in his final races in America with the Red Bull KTM team. He's headed back to MXGP for next year with Honda, but I think he does his best to go out with a bang, barring a shock failure. He's a good starter, he's been good at these races in the past, and all around he's always a solid guy. He's coming in with a good seed, I just don't know if he quite has the flash to match these guys I have in my top 3. And then in 3rd, I've got almost 250 Supercross East champion, Seth Hammaker. The dude was unbelievable in Supercross with some ups and downs in motocross. But the outdoors are gnarly, the dog days of summer, and Seth's dealing with some health issues that I don't think will hinder him in SuperMotocross. I think the extra 10 minutes in the motos and the extra hot, grueling conditions really put a hurting on him. But Seth's going to be good, he might be great, but these next two guys I know are going to be on it. In second, bringing along the momentum from Pro Motocross, I'm going to go with Joe Sushi Wasabi Shimoda. And this dude is really good at SMX. He was awesome in year one. He almost won the title. He was good last year, even after coming in with an injury. And Joe could and should be a very serious threat to the person I have picked for the championship. But he hasn't gotten it done quite yet, so I'm not sure I can pick him to get it done now. And for the win, you guys probably guessed it, not really going out on a limb here, but I'm picking Hayden Deegan for a three-peat. I mean, he took these guys down as a rookie in SMX. He sends it and he scrubs everything, so these tracks really suit his style. I mean, seeing it in person, he's kind of looked like a man amongst boys on these SMX tracks. I think his biggest weakness in Supercross has got to be the whoops, and there's no whoops in SMX, so welcome to the danger zone. Deegan's going to be your champ. Now, moving on to the big dogs, the 450 class, and for 10th place, I'm going to go with Malcolm Stewart, one of two riders to actually make every round this season. So he's coming in with a good seed, but that good seed might come at the cost of coming in cooked. It's been a long summer, a long Supercross season, and he's been really good this year, but I think he's got two jobs and he might be getting tired. I've got Mookie in 10th. Then in the 9th spot, I feel like I'm selling both of these guys that I've talked about so far short. But man, it's a stacked class, but I'm going with Aaron Plessinger. He's been great in Supercross this year, great at the beginning of outdoors, but he's been out, he's been sick, and he's coming off of an illness. So I'm not sure how the energy levels are going to be. Maybe we're just trying to hit the Survival National to get to 2026, but I've got AP 9th. Then in 8th, I kind of hate to do this too, but I'm going to go with Cooper Webb. For similar reasons like I talked about with AP, he's coming off an injury, he doesn't have any momentum, and despite being the Supercross champion, I don't really think his style suits the SMX tracks very well. Coop's really calculated and he thrives when the tracks get super gnarly, and SMX doesn't quite ever get like that, so I still think he'll be good, but I don't think we're going to get Supercross Coop. Then for 7th, I'm going to go with Kickstart Kenny. He was great in Supercross, a total revelation on the Dinosaur. We saw him have a reasonably positive return at Unadilla, a good first moto, and then pulling out of the second moto. So with Kenny, you never really know what you're going to get, so I'm kind of going to go middle of the road and just pick him for 7th. Then in 6th, I'm going with Rick James. RJ Hampshire has been an absolute unit on the 450. He's all of a sudden a model of consistency, he's smoothed out, and I don't even think the phrase RJ's gonna RJ is applicable anymore. So I think he's going to be really good, but he might need a brief adjustment period. I heard him talking about how it just took him a few rounds to get going in the outdoors, and in this series, he only has a few rounds to work with in total. Then into the top 5, in the 5th spot, I'm going to go with the number 1 seed, Justin Cooper. He's coming into Charlotte with the red plate, and just like Malcolm Stewart, he was one of 2 riders to make every round this season. But like I talked about with Malcolm, at some point you've got to be a little bit cooked, so maybe J. Coop's coming in with just a couple % less intensity. And despite being the number 1 seed, he kind of just got that done off of consistency. And this is a short 3-race sprint series, so I think it's going to be more about speed. But this guy's got speed. In the 4th spot, I'm going with Eli Tomac. He was great in his SMX debut last year, went down to the wire with the Lawrence brothers. I've always felt like these hybrid tracks have lent themselves to ET style, even back in the days of the Monster Cup. But with all that being said, he hasn't quite been able to bring that beast mode ET intensity to every single race lately, and it's only a 3-race championship, but I think at the end of the day, he might just be a little bit off these top 3 guys. Then in 3rd, I'm going with Hunta. I almost picked him for 2nd, just like last year, but I think there's somebody that's coming into this thing that's really got it out for Jett. But besides the injury in Supercross, it's been a great year for Hunta. He got his first overall win, great starts as always, and I think those starts are going to be one of the biggest things in his favor in these playoff races. But with only 3 races and triple points at the final race, anything can happen. Hunta's a title contender. Then in 2nd, I'm going with Chase Sexton. Pro Motocross was a disaster, but it's in the rearview mirror. And even with it being a disaster, he still showed up to Washougal and took it to Jett. But I've heard him in several interviews this year. Chase is putting a lot of emphasis on these playoffs. He's never made it through the final race without being injured. And of course, never being the champion kind of goes along with that. But he's always fast at these things, and I think this is the year that he at the very least puts it together. It takes it down to the wire with who I have picked for the championship. And once again, I'm sorry everybody, I'm not going out on a limb, I'm just picking who I think is going to win, and you guessed it, that's Jett Lawrence. It's his world and we're living in it. He hasn't lost an SMX championship yet, and since moving up to the 450, he's never been beaten in a championship where he stayed healthy and completed all the races. So I have a hard time betting against history. The dude's insane, I've seen it too many times, and like I said with the point structure, it's going down to the end, but I think Jett Lawrence will be your 450 champion. But that's all I got for you guys for today's video. As always, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about everything. If you enjoyed the video, if you thought it sucked, if you just want to hate, complain about how I talk, or anything in between, we're here for all of it, as always. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited that we get some more racing. I'm not sure if I'm going to be in attendance at any of these or not. I applied for media, but I've yet to hear back. So we'll see. If we get it, that'll be cool. And if we don't, maybe we'll get there when it's time. Maybe we won't. I don't know, but I'll be enjoying the racing somewhere, and I hope you guys will too. But thank you guys again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. No damn choice.